Rushing to bomb Syria is not about war. I contend we should consider that it is about peace. And here's what I mean by that. This administration knows we are on the brink of World War III. The global economy is fragile. Global stability is weak. The West is on the edge. It's only a matter of time before it crumbles. Iran will eventually lose any remaining restraint, go after Israel. Syria starts spilling across the border. I mean, you know this. When it all falls apart and the West is so weakened, who puts it all back together again? You see, war is, after a long period of just running things into the ground, war makes the people of the world forget what the world was like before the war. Beyond that, history shows us that war also just changes all the players. It changes borders, it changes everything. This time, Russia, China, America, Europe. Europe and America. Is Europe strong? Is America strong? Is China strong? Is Russia strong? Is the UN strong? That's them. Here's us. Really? We gather at the UN because we have to stop an international crisis. And everything is teetering on the edge. And people will cry out, stop the madness. And so we do, the international way. China has great leverage over us. I mean, why aren't we listening to them now? I guarantee you, we will listen to them at the bargaining table and we will concede. For instance, if they say, look, we'll forgive your debts, just sign the UN Arms Treaty. Just go under the banner of the UN. This is about destroying sovereignty. The United Nations will, in the end, broker a deal, making them the new global superpower and making us just one of the guys. That's what everybody wants. The United States just to be average like everybody else. That's what this is about. And quite honestly, this is George Soros's dream come true.
So I think you need a new world order that China has to be part of the process of creating it.
Hello, George, is that you?
Yes. And when the US dollar is no longer the reserve currency, guess who's going to be even richer? George Soros, yes. He's in bed with those who want to control the decline of America. He talks about it. We need a slow, gradual decline. And if people are going to get hurt, yes, level out the playing field. He's getting it. Are you? I would love to believe that cruise missiles are stuffed with magic Middle East peace fairy dust, but I don't think so. I'd love to believe the Muslim Brotherhood will see the light and say, you know what, we should live right next to people who believe in Jesus, but I don't think so. You know what? Not only going to leave the Jesus people alone, but we're going to leave the Jews alone too. That ain't happening. And 2 days in bombing in Syria is not changing that. My father used to say to me, before you do something, son, what you have to do is you have to make a list. And it'll be very clear to you. And so I did make a list. I made a list of winners and losers. And I wanted to find out which was which. Because this is the loser board, right? It's Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic extremists, UN globalists, revolutionaries around the world, anti-American Western forces, China, Russia. Those are the people we want to lose, right? And we want to win the Syrian people. We want the Egyptian people. We want the Jordanian people, America. You know, American pocketbooks. We want Israel. We want Europe. We want the West to win. But if you actually do this and you say, okay, how does Al-Qaeda lose in Syria? How do the Syrian people win? You can't. And you do it all the way down the list. The problem is, this plan does that. They're your winners, they're your losers. How in anyone in their right mind want to do any of this? The good guys lose, the bad guys win. Why in the world would we be doing this? Stupidity? Nope. there is some vested interest in assisting radical extremists. Yep. I believe a lot of things about the current administration. They're not stupid. That is one thing I will never believe. I believe they are vested deeply in the remolding of the world to their heart's desire. But to remold it, you have to heat it up first. I don't often agree with the New Yorker, but they have a great article that takes the form of the conversation for and against, and they mention 1914. Quote, I think Russia isn't going to let Assad go down. Neither is Iran or Hezbollah, so they'll escalate. This could be the thing that triggers an Israel-Iran war. And how do we stay out of that? My gosh, it feels like August 1914. It is. 1914 is the year the Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated. It was the Archduke Ferdinand moment, the moment I've been telling you for years I have been dreading and looking for. It is the moment that eventually led to World War I. This is what I said when I was at Fox, January 2011.
I believe that Tunisia may have been the Archduke Ferdinand moment that I have been warning about. And I've been talking about the perfect storm that was formulating. And I said at some point there was going to be an Archduke Ferdinand moment. And it will be something that the world dismisses, and most likely you will dismiss at first. And then it will snowball.
That was the Tunisian guy that set himself on fire, that the president said it was Rosa Parks that encouraged the people in Egypt to stand up, that encouraged the people in Libya to stand up, that encouraged the people in Syria to stand up, and now the global powers are raised. But remember, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm a nut you should dismiss. Syria is not about teaching Assad a lesson. 2 days of bombing probably won't even seem out of place in Syria today, unfortunately. Syria is not a response to the shock and horror of murder. Hundreds of thousands have died before in the latest attacks. The Coptic Christians are not even saying anything about. Syria is this. It is a sick opportunity for the globalist progressive revolutionaries in our own administration and all around the globe to remold the world closer to their heart's desire.